Hello everyone, this is Carsus here. I'm coming in with a little bit of a different video today. I'll be power scaling Insomniacs Spider-Man. I fell in love with the story back in 2018 when the first one came out. It's kind of a different story from what you would normally see from a Spider-Man story. He already has a fleshed out rogues gallery such as Doc Ock, Rhino, Scorpion, Electro, and Kraven, and even Venom. Because of this, he has a fine display of impressive feats. And without further ado, let's start on attack potency and durability. So right off the bat, we can see that Electro can destroy a large smokestack, which when calculated can equate to large building levels of attack potency and durability. Not only is Spider-Man capable of fighting Electro, but he beat him quite handily. Alongside with Vulture, he was basically 1v2ing the pair. However, we can scale Peter higher via his confrontations with Rhino. Rhino is a character capable of rampaging through the city, not only no-selling cars, vehicles, tearing through walls and buildings, but he is able to tank a very large explosion in the Miles Morales game, which Peter and Miles seem to be only minorly scratched up from. Not only that, but according to the in-game bio, Rhino is capable of destroying 6 city blocks, and Peter is able to fight him. So that will make Peter have multi-city block levels of attack potency and durability based off of these feats. This is consistent considering that both Peter and Miles can fight Sandman, which Sandman can not only create a storm that can cover a portion of New York City, but according to Marvel's website, not only is Sandman capable of devastating multiple city blocks, but he can also shake New York City to its very foundation, which is potential city level scaling for the two right now. Miles is capable of damaging Sandman with his Venom punches, and Peter with the symbiote is very comparable to Miles, if not potentially even greater with extreme difficulty. But I'll get to the symbiote scaling later in the video. Moving on to speed real quick. Peter has shown to be able to dodge bullets and missiles, which is around supersonic plus, like speeds. However, he has shown to battle Electro and dodge his electricity. And electricity is around 50% to 99% the speed of light. So that should be around relativistic plus speeds. He should be around those speed metas. Now that I talked about base Peter's AP and durability being a multi-city block level plus, and his speed being relativistic to relativistic plus, I feel like it's most appropriate to talk about the black suit and see what power increase it offers Peter. After being severely wounded by Kraven, Harry does give Peter the black suit in Spider-Man 2. After he receives the suit, he regenerates the wound given to him by Kraven, as well as increased stats such as attack potency, durability, and speed. To give further context on the black suited's power, I'll have to talk about Kravinoff. Kravinoff is a character that seeks the most worthy opponent for an honorable death. Because of this led him to New York City, where he fought many of Spider-Man's rogues galleries, such as Shocker, Scorpion, Vulture, and Electro. And he beat them with low difficulty. He even blitzed Spider-Man and one-shot him, which mortally wounded him. Now, Peter dons a symbiote suit. It's a bit of a different story, as not only is he able to regenerate the wound that Kraven gave to him, but he's also able to sprout tentacles from the symbiote, such as closing the gap between enemies, slamming them into the ground with the tentacles, or doing a simple tentacle strike with the symbiote. He's also able to fight Kraven on a superior level, even gaining the upper hand until Miles interfered. Now, he did fight Miles. Miles does overpower him at times. However, it is notable to note that Miles does have Peter's major weakness, such as sound in the form of a bell, which did allow Peter to rip off the symbiote suit. And it is debatable whether he would have killed Miles, but it is implied. After Peter rips off the symbiote, he does go to Harry to tell him that the suit is corrupt. However, the symbiote ends up latching onto Harry, and Harry turns into Venom. Now, Venom is able to grapple Peter and overpower him and throw him across the room, seemingly knocking him out for a period of time. However, it is noted that Peter was exhausted with the fight with Miles. Venom is a character that can lift a high school and a football field. This is consistent with the multi-city block plus level scaling I had for Peter. Now, it is worthy to note that, like, Peter does get the anti-venom suit via Mr. Negative, and he is able to fight Venom and overpower Venom at times. However, Venom eventually overpowers Peter at the end. Now, Peter with the anti-venom suit does have the same powers as the black suit, except with the corruption and the weakness to sound. So just to summarize on the AP's durability and speed department, Peter should have multi-city block plus level scaling via the Rhino and Sandman statements, as well as feats. In terms of the speed, he should be in the relativistic plus ballparks with the electro scaling, and all these stats should be enhanced with the black suit and the anti-venom suit. He could scale the city level, but I think multi-city block plus is consistent with the power set I just mentioned. Moving on to powers and abilities, Peter does have access to something called a spider sense, which works as a sort of precognition. It allows him to sense dangers before they happen, so he can act accordingly, and allows him to get an upper hand in combat. He also has access to webbing, which allow him to swing across the city, web up opponents so he can grapple them. He can climb on walls, run up walls. He has access to electric webbing, which stuns opponents. Trip mines, which if they walk over, they'll get blasted with webs. Concussive blasts that pushes enemies a distance away. Spider drones, which allow him to deploy like mini robotic spiders that shoot lasers to knock out opponents. Impact webs to instantly put people on walls, and web bombs, which is like an AoE blast around the opponents to web up multiple opponents at once. Turning to resistances, Peter has fought Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is a character that has powers that allow him to manipulate negative emotions, therefore controlling their minds. It's basically a mind hacks. Peter has overpowered this mind hacks before when Mr. Negative attempted to take over his mind. Alright fellas, I think that concludes my video on how strong Insomniacs Spider-Man is. Please bear with me on this video. I'm still very new to video making in this caliber. I'm sorry if the editing is off, or sound, or if I'm a bit cluttered, but I hope to improve in the future. Any feedback is welcomed.